We live. All right. Good evening. Welcome to Tabernacle Life Class, Live Stream. Thank you for your patience with us today. We're going to get right into our program. This week, we are talking about the escalated domestic violence that we're seeing as a result of COVID-19 and people sheltering in place. You know, we try to bring you healthy content for powerful living so that you can live well as we're not able to congregate together in church. We want to thank our Tabernacle Church family, our extended Tabernacle Church family, and all of our friends that view this while we're doing it live, and all of you that view it later. I am glad to be here with my lovely friend and co host, Miss Myra Herring.
Hi.
We also have Mr. David Herring in the back. We also want to thank Sister Cheryl Thomas for all of her work with the graphics that you see, and Janelle Johnson for all of her work behind the scenes. The bishop here is Bishop Dennis A. Meredith, the Lead Gentleman LeVar Burkett, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Myra, why don't you go ahead and welcome in our guest?
All right. So, as Taylor mentioned, during these times, we've seen a rise in domestic violence. So we thought it was an appropriate topic to bring you information about it, tell you stories about it, help you understand what it looks like, what it is, how to get help, and the fact that there are resources to help you with that. So we are going to bring in someone that has an amazing story to tell and a foundation that she started to bring awareness to domestic violence. So, without further ado, Mrs. Denise Jackson, welcome to the show.
Everyone. My name is Denise Dunston, and I'm a
Um,
deacon at Tabernacle Baptist Church.
Yes, you are.
And I come to you today to speak on behalf of the Shy Foundation. The Shy Foundation was founded in in 2013, in reference to my daughter Shakira
so, share that story with us, if
in
you will.
February of 2013. And opposed to just drowning in my pain, I decided to turn my pain into a purpose. And that purpose is to empower, to educate, and to advocate, and to love those who are affected by domestic violence as well as the underprivileged. The Shaw Foundation has served so many people that have been affected by domestic violence, and our goal is to continue to help them to heal. So again, I am Denise Jackson, the
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you again, Denise, for being here, for sharing your story. Um, and you mentioned a little bit about Shakira and her story, and that she was a victim of domestic violence. Is there anything that you care to share, just about her story, a little bit more about her story, and even maybe how people can recognize signs of domestic violence?
Yes, as I stated, was victim of domestic violence. She was only 20 years of age when we lost her, and she was involved in a very toxic relationship. And then on the outside looking in, you can see those things. You see those things, you can detect those things. You see what they don't see, and you
Mm,
hear what they don't hear. So Shakira was she was very shy about it because we would question her in reference to what was going on with her. Again, she would always tell us nothing is happening, but as a mother, you know when something is going on with your child. So at age 20, she decided to continue on in this relationship. And just when she started to realize that enough is enough, she decided to pull back. And it was at that time she lost her life because when the abuser feel like they're losing power, it is then that they become even more violent.
mm.
And Shakira was a victim of that, you know. we lost her due to domestic violence. And
Mm.
from that point on, we became that face, we became her voice. And we decided to just advocate for the victims of domestic violence and survivors as well. You know, we try to help them to heal, and we want them to remember who they were before the abuse even started.
It's amazing.
You mind if I?
Right ahead.
So, Denise, why don't you tell us some of the main signs that a person is in a domestic violence type of situation or in an abusive situation? What are some signs that you can encourage the audience to look for?
Good question.
Well, some of the warning signs, not all the signs are obvious. They're not, a lot of them are not obvious. But when that individual becomes very demanding, when that individual starts to alienate you from your family and your friends,
Mm,
he or she always wants to know where you're going, who you with, what you're doing. They take control of your money, concern themselves with what you can and cannot wear. They want
Mm.
to tell you when to eat, what to eat, when to go to bed. So basically, they start taking control of your life as a whole,
Mm.
and it is then that they start to become violent because the mental part starts first. They start to abuse you mentally, and then they play on your verbally they do it, and then all of a sudden it becomes physical. So it's like steps to it.
Mm.
But being that person that's been abused, who really don't key into any of that until the physical abuse starts, because you make excuses like, well, he had a bad day today. That's probably why he's speaking to me as such. Oh, he don't want me to wear this because maybe the dress is too short, the pants are too tight. So you make excuses for them, but eventually the physical part take place.
Yeah. Wow. You know, we there's research now that shows that domestic violence has increased by 20 to 30% in the U.S. and Canada since COVID started. Do you know why that may be the case? Why we are seeing a rise in domestic violence? Like what the condition may be that's causing this increase?
Um, Taylor, I couldn't really hear Myra on this end.
You
Her
want to repeat it?
question, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Okay, her question was there's been a spike in domestic violence. I know personally speaking with Atlanta Police Department, Atlanta police officers, that they're getting as much as 20 to 30% more calls as it pertains to domestic violence. What is your opinion on that, and why do you think that is?
That's true. As of last week, the calls were up by 52%. And the
Mm,
reason
Mm.
being the calls are on the rise because there is no escape route right now for the victims. You know, their outlet is going to work, going to school. But when they're being sheltered in with the abuser, then the abuse comes to play even more so because now you're here with me all day. Any and everything you may do or say is a bother. So therefore, my way of getting back at you is attacking you. So with them not having an outlet, not being able to go to work, go to school, or do what they normally do on a day-to-day basis, then it's hard. So that's one
Mm.
of the main reasons why it's on the rise because they're having to be sheltered in with their abuser all day.
Mm.
wow. Denise, that is extraordinarily profound.
Yeah. I you may have to repeat the question. Hopefully you can hear me, Denise, but it sounds like there may be control issues, like some of the things you were explaining about, the abuser wanting to
And I
know.
can't hear my
Oh, you couldn't hear her just then?
You may
Myra,
have to
no, I
repeat it
can't
for
hear
me.
her at all.
I'll
oh,
I'll I'll
okay.
say it and I'm gonna have Taylor repeat
Just try it
it.
one more. Can you hear her
Okay.
now, Denise?
Can you hear me?
No,
Okay.
All
So
right.
you want me to repeat? You want to repeat for me?
I'm gonna repeat her question for you. Um,
So so it's about control. So, you mentioned that the abuser wants to know where you're going, what you're eating, who you're with, all of those things. Do you feel like there is, and it may be your opinion, that they're losing control when they, can't do these things, and it escalates into, more abuse in situations like COVID when they don't have a way to control. You're not going out, or maybe things like that. Are they feeling like they're losing control?
The abuser is definitely losing control at that point because, again, he himself can move about as he sees fit. And now that we're being sheltered in together, so I'm gonna blame you for the things that I cannot do.
Mm,
I
Wow.
cannot get out. I can't go run with whomever I chose to run with or do things that I want to do that basically satisfy me. So being that I can't do those things, then I'm going to blame you.
mhm,
You're here, you're in my way, and that person is not looking at the fact that it's COVID-19 that's stopping you from doing these things. He's looking at that one individual that he's been housed with. I'm being sheltered in with you, so I might as well take it all out on you. Whatever it is that I'm angry about, frustrated about, whatever I can or cannot do at this given time,
yep.
then I'm gonna give it to you. That that's just how it is.
Mm,
So
So
go ahead, Denise.
they're being blamed for everything that that individual cannot do.
Um, so getting a good understanding of that and how the abuser gets more violent, when they feel like they don't have control. And, really it's starting with the mental. Um, Say a listener in our audience is in an abusive situation. And they're hearing this part about it's mental first, and then it's violent second, and the violence usually occurs because there's no control. how do what is the science to getting messages to these people so that they may be able to move themselves to safety? Can they create is there any science that allows them to create a safe space while they transition out?
Um, as of, as of right now, with so much going on and domestic violence being on the rise, a lot of the shelters are basically full, but
Mm,
they can still reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and they would definitely guide them in the way that they need to go. And as with anyone that's involved in domestic violence, and you're aiming to get out, you have to create a safety plan.
mm,
You have to start doing things without the abuser knowing in
wow.
order
mm,
to get out, because if they know that you're on your way out, it get even worse. And that's the case with my daughter. The young man knew she finally got it. I'm tired. I can't do it no more. And when he realized that he himself had lost control, it was at that time that he became more violent with her. So they have to implement an escape plan. And even like I said, with the National Domestic Hotline, they can get in contact with the Shy Foundation and we can help them with the plan, but it can be done. It can be done.
mhm.
So they have to, I heard you say they have to create a safety plan. And that's the first
Yes,
step
yes.
to getting themselves to some kind of safer space. And
To a safe place.
they have to
Yes,
create a safety plan without the abuser knowing. Um, I
yes.
do want to get to another question that I do have in my head, but
Mhm.
this I don't want to steer this any differently because I believe some people may be able to be helped. How is it that a person that's in an abusive situation can start creating a safety plan without the abuser knowing?
Mhm.
Well, normally when they're away from the home, that's the best time to try to create those things when they're away from the home, because at that time they have that time on their hand to write down for the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to figure things out. But when that they're closed in, then it needs to pick up the phone, call someone, and just implement everything, have them to start executing this plan for them. you know,
Mhm.
call a friend, call a family member, but it has to be a trusted individual, someone that will not get back to their abuse and tell them what you're doing. So pick
Mm,
the phone up, make a phone call, and if that person is around you, you and that individual have to create some type of safety words. You know, come up with those words. So if my safety word is pineapple, and if I call you and I say, and I'm speaking about pineapple, then you already know it's time to start planning.
Mm,
Mm. So
that's
create a
good.
safety word. That's really good.
Is it ever okay to call the police? Like if you
You know,
feel threatened and you feel like your life is in danger, does calling the police potentially escalate the problem? Is it ever safe or smart to
I
call
didn't
the
hear
police?
my question, Taylor.
She was asking, is it safe to call the police when these things escalate or get out of control? When is it time to call 911?
Hmm. There's a delay
Yeah.
in mine.
It is always a good time to call 911, but when that call is made, that individual, that victim, have to be certain that she want that person arrested that night,
Mm.
because you can't call that one and then they call and you say, okay, you're so grateful that you say to them, oh, everything is okay.
Mm,
Because if you say that everything is okay, then when that officer leaves, then it's going to get even worse for you. So you have to stick to your gun. It's always wise to call 911. Under any circumstances, call them. Call them.
mm.
Because again, you got to stick to it. If you call them, get them out, get that person out of your house.
Okay. Okay. So, we are an affirming church and we have, you know, uh, a large population of the affirming community in our church. So, what is it like for them? How could we speak to the LGBTQIA um,
Mm.
person, persons specifically, intentionally, to their situation?
Taylor, domestic violence doesn't discriminate. It doesn't. It does not discriminate.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
It doesn't matter your religion, your color. It does not discriminate. It does not. So don't ever feel or think or believe that it does. Domestic violence does not and will not discriminate.
Mhm.
So let me
You
ask you
know, you
this.
have same sex.
You have same sex. Go ahead. I'm sorry. We are dealing with this delay, working the best we can. But go ahead, Denise. We have same sex. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have same sex living couples that are have been involved in domestic violence, and worse than heterosexual couples.
Mm.
So okay. So why would you say domestic violence in a same gender loving relationship may be worse than a heterosexual couple?
I mean, when you have same gender loving people, especially male, especially males. So when they're involved, you're looking at two guys. You're
Hmm.
looking at two guys, and you may have one been with him being the most dominant one, even though he looked at his partner as being the lesser of the dominant. But when he's beating that individual, he's beating that individual as if he's actually beating a man. He sees nothing but man.
Mm,
Mm.
That's all he sees. He sees man. So
mm.
of course I'm going to beat him because he know in all actuality he's a man just like I am. So who's to say that he won't turn around and beat me? So therefore I'm beating him for dear life as if he's beating me.
Right.
Mm.
So as to intimidate. I totally agree with you that this topic of domestic violence doesn't care about gender, doesn't care about race, doesn't care about sexuality. It is not prejudice in any way.
Yeah.
Like COVID-19, domestic violence comes to no respect of person. It has no respect of person. It comes to
Mhm.
it all. but just to try to speak to, things that your audience may say or ask.
Yeah.
But I do think that even though you did say domestic violence doesn't have a respecter of person, it is interesting that you pointed out that in a male to male relationship, a man is going to beat a man as he's a man because in his mind, that man could turn around because he is a man and beat him potentially the same way. So maybe there's a more dominant type, maybe there's more psychological dominance when it comes to domestic violence
Exactly.
in a male to male relationship. And that's something that same gender loving people can take away. Would you say it's the same for women and abuse, same gender loving women, that the women are harder on the women because they are same gender loving?
Yes. I say this because when it comes to the women's, they don't went out yet. When it comes to the women's,
We got you, Denise. You're still here.
okay.
Mhm.
When it comes to the women's, you may have if you have two women's that are together, and again it comes down to the dominant role. So if you have one more dominant than the other one, so the one that plays the more dominant role, of course, her mindset is that I'm man. So therefore, I'm going to beat this woman as though I am a man.
Oh, wow.
So again, you find this woman really fighting for her life. And when it comes to gender loving, I can actually say they will not report domestic violence quick as a heterosexual couple will
Wow.
because of the embarrassment of it all.
Wow.
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 So they won't they're not as quick to call the police or let anyone know that they're being abused because they don't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
So therefore they'll live with the abuse and
Wow.
walk around and carry on like nothing has happened.
That's powerful.
What do you have to add
You
with this?
know, so I want to remind the audience if you have questions, please put those in the chat so we can make sure we get your questions addressed this evening. I want to hear more about the Shy Foundation. I want you to have a chance to just tell us about the resources, what your mission and vision is, and what the Shy Foundation offers to help people that may be in a domestic violence relationship.
Absolutely. Great question. So we were saying, Denise, if you didn't hear that, that we want to know about more about the Shy Foundation and its resources to help people, same gender loving people, heterosexual people that may find themselves
Okay.
in this in a domestic violence situation.
Okay. Well, the Shy Foundation, um, as I
Denise, did you get that question?
as well as
Okay.
sanctioning other couples. So we do all that we can. No, I hear you, Taylor. No,
What?
I hear you. I don't hear Myra.
Okay. Well, try answer that question that I just asked you for us again.
Okay, the Shy Foundation stands for Sharing Hope and Inspiration. Okay, the Shy Foundation stands for Sharing Hope and Inspiration in honor of my daughter Shakira. And what we do, okay, let's say this is sharing power and as well. We stand here and we empower individuals who have been involved in domestic violence. We provide food. We can provide lodging for a small amount of time. We do that. So basically, whatever we can give of ourselves, we do just that. We help others to help themselves. And our main goal is try to help them to heal because we want them to remember who they were before the abuse started.
Wow. So you provide shelter,
Hmm.
you provide food, and you provide healing. And healing is important because, uh, what did you hear her say?
About the control or,
Healing is important because it helps you remember who you were
oh, yeah, before the
before
violence started.
before the violence
Before
Absolutely.
it
started.
started.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think that's really
Yes.
interesting. So the shelter, can people help partner with you with that? Are you looking for people to help you with that?
Definitely, we are definitely looking for others to partner with us because right now we're basically doing it on our own. You know, we have people to volunteer to help us. Like since this pandemic been going on, we've actually helped what 537 families
Wow.
Wow.
in the
Oh
month
my
of May.
goodness.
537.
Wow. And
Yes. So
you said you're doing this
yeah.
on your
So
own?
yes, the Shop Foundation has been doing it on our own,
Wow.
and we have like people would donate monies, they donate toiletries, donate food. So we receive donations, but at the end of the day, we're out there doing the work. We got to do what we got to do to help others. You know,
That's great. How do people reach out to the Shy Foundation in confidentiality without their abuser knowing?
Yeah, that's a good question. How do people reach out to the Foundation in confidentiality so that the abuser doesn't know?
they can go to our website.
Mm.
They can go to our website, which is shyfoundation.com. They can go to our website, and they can also email me at hope at shyfoundation.com. And the number, I'm sorry, the
Mhm.
Shy Foundation number is 404-857-9480.
Great.
That is really good. So
Great.
they can call you at that number. They also can they can go to the website and they can also email you if they
Yes,
need to be get to you in confidentiality.
yes.
Mhm.
What are
And it will be definitely in confidentiality because whatever come to us stays with us.
Mhm.
And when we're out, if we come in contact with an individual that's just don't want anyone to know what's going on, it may be of us that'll go out. We won't take everybody that's a part of the foundation. It'll
Mhm.
be one, two, or three of us, and that's it. That's it.
so I
Great.
have a
'Cause
question. I have another question for you. And it's a two-part question as we get ready to come to a close.
Mhm.
The what would you say to parents out there that have children
That's good.
in a bad situation? For me, um, in my own individual journey and studies, I have found out that a battered woman, it usually takes, I think, 7 or 8 times before they are actually done with the abuse or something like that. And what I've come to understand through therapy and therapeutical professionals is that each individual has to come to the end of their road on their own. And for a parent, that has to be hard to watch. So, what do you say to parents that know that their kids are in a bad situation? How do you help those parents?
Mm. That's
Um,
good.
you know, how do you help those parents help those children?
Mm.
can you repeat your question, Taylor? Because you went completely out.
Okay. So the question is, what do you say to parents that are watching their children in a domestic violence situation? Because as a parent, I know you know firsthand that that has to be hard to watch, and I'm sure our audience, the parents in our audience, want to know what is it that they can do and what is it that they should do if they find themselves in the situation where their child is dealing with domestic abuse.
Um, Number one, I would say speak on it. With Shakira, as I stated before, as a parent, you know when something is going on with your child. And with Shakira, even though I saw the signs, she did not see what I saw because I think she was blinded by what she thought was love.
Mm,
Mm.
So she did not see what I saw at all. And I personally feel like a man that would disrespect his mother, he
Mm.
would disrespect anyone.
Mm.
So that was the first sign for me.
my
Mm.
That was the
God.
very first sign for me. And for her, she made excuses. No, he's not like that. He doesn't talk to me like that. He doesn't do this. But I started seeing her. She was looking as if she was tired all the time. So I felt like at that point he was abusing her mentally, and it was becoming draining.
Mm.
Mm.
It was because when she was at home, it was like she was always at her best. But when she would leave with him and come back home, it was something totally different. So I felt like when we were going through court, I told I said to the juror that I felt like that relationship was like someone that
Mm-hmm.
Do we lose her?
because she would do the same. So I would say to a parent that you have to monitor your child. You have to watch what they do, how they do, and with whom they're doing it with. And we have to let them go at a certain age and let them make their own decisions. But you still have to be very mindful of the people
Mm-hmm.
that they're with. And if the first sign of abuse for me, like I said, was sin drained, like she was always tired. Because as I say, they will start with that person mental first.
Mm.
It will start with their mental, then it will become more verbal, and then it will eventually become physical. Now, I never saw any physical marking on her. Not to say that he did not hit her, but I never saw any physical marking. But I did see her mental,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
her mental just being completely drained. I did see that, and for that there was enough for me within itself.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you have to mandate them, regardless of how old they are. And even like with my boys, I tell my boys, um, I don't want them getting involved with an individual that wants to argue.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't want it comes to a point when they feel like they want to argue, they want to yell, they want to scream. You walk away from that. You
Mm-hmm.
walk away from that because I don't want you to become the aggressor because what they're saying or what they may be doing. That's not good. Walk away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Walk away.
Yeah.
I like what you
Early.
said. I like what you said about the
Absolutely.
boys. So you gave the parents something. Now I want you to speak to the people that are in this situation. What would you say to the audience of people? We don't know when somebody's going to see this, or if somebody's going to catch this content later. What do you say to the person that's in this situation?
Mm.
To those that are in this situation, I want them to know that they are not alone. We are stronger together.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, don't be afraid to speak out. That there are others that will walk this walk with you.
Mm.
Because like I said, the Shop Foundation is here. We are the voices. We will advocate. We will do whatever we need to do by any means necessary to make sure that person gets to a safe place and back to where they once were.
That's good.
So you're never alone. You're never alone.
Mm-hmm.
You're never
And
alone.
there's help. There's resources out there that are available.
And you said there was a 1-800 domestic violence hotline.
Yeah, the national domestic hotline, 1-800-799-7233. And they also have a chat where you can chat with them, chat at thehotline.org.
Mm.
Chatthehotline.org.
So those are two numbers that they can call 24/7. Even with the Shy Foundation, um, call us. It doesn't matter the time, doesn't matter what day, doesn't matter the hour. Call us. We're here. Because like I said, we're in this together.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and give us the Shy Foundation contact information one more time before we close this out?
Okay. The number to reach the Shy Foundation is 404-857-9480. The website is shyfoundation.com.
Mm-hmm.
The email address is hope at shyfoundation.com.
And
And
how
it's
can people?
Shy
So
SHI.
It's Shy SHI.
Mm-hmm.
Shy, S-H-I, Shy,
And how can people?
S-H-I.
And how can people give to your organization to help those in domestic violence and to help you guys
Actually,
serve?
if they go on the website, you can go on the website and donate through the website.
Perfect.
So they could donate and
Yeah.
any other resources, clothes, food, toiletries. That's all given
Yes.
through the website.
Yeah, if you contact us as far as toiletries and food, let us know and we can come pick them up. Monetary donations can be made on the website. Anything like I said with food, toiletries, clothing, shoes, we will be more than happy to pick those things up. And on the website, it also shows the upcoming events for the Shy Foundation.
Nice.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, yeah. And
Well,
we have a if you go to the website, you'll get we're doing a monthly newsletter.
okay.
Great, great, great. Very
You have
helpful.
Yeah.
any
So
closing
Oh,
remarks?
yeah. So all
good.
of our contact information is on the website.
Perfect. This has been great. I don't know if you can hear me, Denise, but I learned a lot and I appreciate you taking the time to share your story and your heart through your organization.
I don't know if you heard that,
Thank you.
but
No,
she's.
I did.
I don't know what's going on. But she said thank you so much for sharing your story and your heart with the world and the Shy Foundation. We really appreciate it. Likewise,
You guys are more than welcome. You're more than welcome. It was my pleasure.
likewise, I also appreciate it. Tabernacle Church family, extended family, and friends, anyone watching, please take the time to support Deacon Denise Jackson of Tabernacle Baptist Church and the Shy Foundation as they do the work on the front line,
Mhm.
helping people with domestic violence that has spiked some 52% here in Atlanta,
Mm.
maybe as much as 20 to 30% across the nation. Uh, if you go back and listen to the video, there's a 1-800 hotline, there's a chat, and also you can go to theshyfoundation.com to look up to how to support them, come to their events, as well as participate in the fight against domestic violence. Denise Jackson is a brave soul, a brave heart, a very powerful woman who has taken the time to share with us today the impact of domestic violence and how you can deal with that. I want you to go with this. Remember, the abuse starts with the mental, and then it moves into the physical, and it moves into the physical as the individual feels like they are losing control over the other individual mentally. And to get into a safe place as you're dealing with domestic violence, you have to create a safe plan. And you have to create that safe plan in the absence of your aggressor. So when they're gone, you get on the phone with somebody that you trust, you create safe words, and you call that person and you give them the safe words. And and you create a safety exit strategy so that you can leave uh, with your life intact. And always, you can call 911, but be sure when you call 911, mean it. Know that the police are going to take away your aggressor that night. Don't call 911 only to not press charges, only to not have them take your aggressor and the person that's causing you pain away. Call 911 and let the police take them away. And when you're healing, remember, it's important to remember who you were before the domestic violence
Mhm.
took over your life. Get back to who you were. And then incrementally, you can get back to yourself and get better. We want to thank Deacon Denise Jackson again. We want to thank Myra Herring again and Mr. David Herring, her husband in the back, for all of the technical support. Thank all of you, Tabernacle Church family, extended family, and friends for watching Tabernacle live stream tonight. God bless you. God keep you, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Great job, Denise.